And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Giangelo's on 224 in Boardman. It is the South Range Raiders Show. We're getting better at that. We're getting a lot better at that. I'm proud of you, Rach. It is Coach's Corner with David Rach after a real nice week against Niles. Coach, welcome to the show yet again, my friend.
Yeah, thanks. Good to be here.
All right. You settle in. You get one back. You get back to business against Niles. You put it up there. Both sides of the football working exquisitely. Three sides. Offense, defense, special teams. You throw the shutout. You get a lot of points on the board, and the special teams did their job as well. When you go the next day, you didn't really do films because you had some other place to be.
Yeah.
But when you looked at the film,
congratulations, by the way.
Thank you very much.
New Hall of Famer.
Still not surreal. It's still not real. When you were able to look at the film for the Niles game, what did you see? What needs worked on before we get to Mooney on Friday?
It's funny, like you win a game, 60, whatever it was, to nothing, and you just assume that everything's going to be good. And there was a lot of really good things. I think we made a lot of improvement over the past 3 weeks, really. And I know it hasn't showed on the scoreboard each of those 3 weeks, but I think we're making a lot of progress as a football team and as a football family. I was excited the way our kids came out and started fast. That's something that we've struggled with. I think we did a nice job there. Still some stuff we have to get cleaned up in the special teams department, and then a couple run-throughs when we were on offense that I thought got us behind the sticks. Luckily, we were able to overcome that. But I think for the most part, I think it was probably one of the cleaner games that we had played. And as you mentioned, we actually talked in pregame. I said I wanted to score or set up a score in all three phases, and that was kind of my challenge to the guys. And I didn't even realize it, but Colin Kay came over after the safety. And he said that's two because the kickoff team is what pinned him down there on the 5-yard line, and then we got the safety on defense. So I thought that was pretty cool and pretty headsy of him to even be thinking about it, in the game. But, no, I was excited with how we played, and it was nice to get back in the win column.
One of the things that a lot of people have been discussing, obviously Gerard's the talk of the town, the belle of the ball. When you talk about Gerard, you guys gave them the biggest test that they've had, and then obviously Pullen rolls in. I mean, this is really a three-team league at this point. Gerard's still moving forward, but you guys gave them their best punch of the year. What does that say about your crew?
Well, I think it was just more evidence to the fact that we had got, and we've talked about this, I think we've got a lot better since that game. I think if you look at the way we competed and played against Poland versus the way we competed and played against Gerard, it was kind of night and day. And it wasn't all pretty against Gerard. I mean, we made a lot of mistakes. The special team score, we obviously turned the ball over too much and gave up too many explosive plays, but I still think it was evidence that we were headed in the right direction, and that was good to see. And then you look at what Gerard did, against Poland the other night. It was obviously a great game with two great teams. But, I think I don't know if the transitive property is, a real thing or not, but I do think that it's pretty clear that we're getting a lot better, and that's kind of our number one goal right now.
I want to amend my last statement because Hubbard has been impressive as well.
For sure.
We have yet to play
no
them.
Question.
You play Mooney. There's never a comfortability when you play Cardinal Mooney.
Right.
Everybody knows the tradition, the history of Cardinal Mooney. But the only time we've ever played Cardinal Mooney, correct me if I'm wrong, was in the playoffs a few years ago at Gerard.
Yeah.
We got the win. This is a different Cardinal Mooney team. This is a different South Range team. What do you expect coming into Friday?
Yeah, I expect a tremendous game. I think it'll be an unbelievable atmosphere. I think there's a lot of eyes on the game. They're obviously a tremendous program with a ton of history and a great football team right now. You can tell they're really well coached, and they have some really dynamic players. I think on offense and defense have done a great job in the short time the staff has been there of getting those guys ready to play. And it's actually funny. You look back at, there's a couple guys on this team that we actually saw in 2022 that were playing on the lines or, out on the perimeter playing corner. So they've obviously got some good players. We've got good players, and I think two really proud communities and football programs. So I expect a great game.
One of the biggest things that people are talking about right now, Ike Lake, one of the best backs in the entire region.
Yeah.
But really nobody is able to get the run on South Range. It's been a long time since we've seen that, especially in regular season. Do you feel good going into the game knowing their game plan is to usually to bust bodies up front?
I think every week you develop a game plan that you hope you feel good about, and I think this week is no different. I think I feel good about the practices that we've had, and I feel good about the plan that we have going into the game. I'm sure they do too, and I'm sure they've had great practices. So at the end of the day, we're going to have to go compete on Friday and play fast and loose and do the best job that we can. I think stylistically it probably is a little bit more comfortable for us than some weeks, not because of anything that they're doing right or wrong. I just think they're really similar to us on both sides of the ball. I mean, their defense is almost a cookie-cutter image of what ours is. Offensively, there's a ton of similarities in formations and in terms of how they try to get guys in space. And it's a really, really similar, I think, stylistic football team to us, which is nice, I'm sure, for us and for them. I mean, you're talking about we've seen that defensive look since July. They've seen that defensive look since July, and it's going to come down to who can compete the hardest and who can make the fewest mistakes and who can do the little things that are required to win big football games.
This game falls in the middle of conference season, even though it's not a non-conference game. But one of the things that I've got my eye on is there is a lot of fallout from this game one way or the other in how the playoffs stack up. Are you guys keeping an eye on that? And, what are you hoping to achieve on Friday night?
You know what, not a ton. I mean, I'm aware of where we're at, and I'm sure our guys are aware of where we stand right now and what needs to be done, over the next couple of weeks in order for us to get where we want to go. At the end of the day, none of that stuff matters. I mean, you can go on Joe Itel and see where the computer rankings are and go to Drew Pasteur and see he projects this and that. Yeah, he does all that stuff. But at the end of the day, what happens on Friday night is what matters the most, and none of that stuff matters if we don't handle business Friday and then the following, and really even Friday doesn't matter in terms of our preparation today. We've got to make sure that we had a great Tuesday today. We've got to have a great night tonight and then have a great Wednesday tomorrow and just keep getting after it.
How much of that, I mean, you mentioned Drew Pasteur. It's something we talk about on Thursdays, but how often you peek at that and see, like, okay, what do they got us up by or us down by?
I don't pay attention to the spreads.
At all.
I could care less. No, I do check, though, late in the year. Usually week 9, week 10, I'll start taking a peek just to see, potential matchups or who his projected matchups are for week 11 and week 12, just to see if I can start grabbing some film, ahead of time from trying to use connections and friends from different parts of the state or different parts of the area to see if we can get some film on this team, just in case. Otherwise, you end up in a scramble, that Saturday after week 10, trying to figure out where we can get film on a team that we haven't heard of. So try to stay ahead of it in that respect.
You guys have battled through some adversity this year. It's been a while since we've seen this kind of adversity in the regular season. How have you learned to battle through it? I mean, is it life? Is it football? You've battled through adversity in your own life. How has it gotten you ready to take on some of the concepts that you've had to deal with over the last 3 weeks?
Yeah, well, I know it sounds cliche, but it really is true that anytime you go through something hard, I think you come out the other side better. And we've tried to take the opportunity to really discuss as a football program and as a football family, the things that we have to do in order to avoid feeling like this, moving forward. And, I think we've made some changes that I think are going to benefit us in the short term and in the long term. But at the end of the day, I mean, I tell the kids all the time, like, you're going to get knocked down in life, and it's about how you respond and how honest you are with yourself about why these things are happening, and when you're not having success, I think it's really easy to point fingers. But the right way to do it, I think, is to look in the mirror and say, hey, what can I do better and what do we need to do differently in order to have the success that we want to have. I think it's tempting. It's kind of a loser mentality, right? It's tempting to make excuses and to blame people, but the right way is to say, hey, we're going to rally together and become closer from this and try to improve, and our guys have been doing that.
Tonight we interview Nick Toy, Tommy Titus, the TNT connection.
There you go.
When you think about these two guys and not only the history, the family history, but what you've seen coming up the pike and what they're turning into quickly.
Yeah.
What do you like about these two?
I mean, there's a lot to like about both of them. I think you can tell they're here because it's a packed house. So when Toy and Titus are up on the mic, you can tell.
Every Toy's here.
They're all here, man. No, just two guys that, I mean, frankly, what we're asking of them at the age that they are is probably unprecedented. You're talking about two guys that really, Tommy Titus doesn't come off the field for us. And I actually went to him a week ago and I said, hey, bud, I'm going to need you to play some special teams too. I know, you're tired and you're going both ways, but it's where we're at right now. We need you to get in there and fill some roles. And he's done a great job of it. Nick, obviously, as a first-year starter and a sophomore quarterback, has had so much on his plate. He's actually helping us on defense now as well. And I think those guys are such fierce competitors and have been in the fire and competed at high levels in everything they've done growing up. And it's been really cool for me to see, since I was actually in the building, when they were in junior high, to kind of see the steps that they've made and how much they've grown. But again, I mean, we're asking a lot of them, and they're in positions where it's not like we're asking them to go one way on a Friday night or to learn one small position, but we're asking those guys, to really understand and kind of run the show on both sides, which is asking a lot. But they've done a great job and have handled it, in stride. Walk
me through that, because Chris Colucci did his first game on Friday night, and he said, Nick Toy's out there on defense too. You don't see that much anymore in 2025 as your quarterback usually plays one way to protect them a little bit more. For you, being a defensive guy and a guy that loves hard-nosed football. What does that say about your quarterback that he's willing to play two ways?
Yeah, I think it helps him to lead. You know, I think that any time that the rest of the team sees the quarterback willing to do some of the dirty work, I think it probably adds, some street credit, in terms of how they look at him. But at the end of the day, I mean, he's a great athlete and a great football player that happens to play quarterback. So if you can get him involved and give him maybe a limited role defensively where he can do some things that he's comfortable with, it's definitely helpful. Even just from a depth perspective, we're trying to find ways to incorporate more guys on offense and defense, just so we can get some guys a blow when we have to, and he's done a great job with that.
All right, that concludes the X's and O's session of this bad boy. I've got 276 questions that I've got to get into, and nobody better to get into them with than David Rach. All right, let's start with a travel question. Sounds easy, right?
Yeah.
Where would you next like to travel most?
Probably somewhere I've already been. My son David over there wants us to go back to Myrtle Beach and Ocean Lake. So if I said anything different, he'd probably be upset with me. Plus, it might appease him for at least a little while. So probably back to Myrtle Beach.
What is your favorite piece of technology that you've ever had?
My favorite piece of technology that I've ever had.
It can be sports related or not.
Well, this is kind of like a love-hate relationship, but I would say the huddle.
Okay.
The huddle, it can be a pain in the butt at times. It hasn't been working great lately. Hopefully they don't sue me for that. But
right.
It's one of those things that saves us a lot of time. I remember before huddle having to break down films, and I would have legal pads. I mean, for a week one opponent, I'd have 20 pages of legal pads. I'm rolling through them. Where now it's all kept intact. So I would say the huddle.
If you could go back and invent anything in the last 50 years and take credit for it, what would it be and why?
Probably Bitcoin, because I'd be sitting on a
Bitcoin.
pile of cash. Yeah.
Would you still coach?
Oh, yeah. That would be my dream, is to be like a multi-billionaire from Bitcoin that coaches and teaches and but has all the money that I want to have.
You'd still teach too.
Oh, yeah.
That just tells you.
For sure,
that's the kind of guy you are.
Yeah.
What emerging technology are you most excited about?
What emerging technology?
AI?
I am guilty of using AI from time to time, so I would say, yeah. I'm also concerned about AI, though.
You got moans and groans over there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it does make some things a lot easier.
What personal goals do you have for yourself?
What personal goals do I have for myself? Mine are pretty broad, man. I want to be, I guess, number one, I want to be the best dad, the best husband that I can be. But I want to continuously grow as a coach and as a teacher, and as long as I'm getting better and I can see some growth, and I'm pretty good with that. How
have your goals changed over your life?
You know what? The older I get, the more my goals, I think, center around other people.
Really?
And less about me. Yeah, I was a selfish person, like in hindsight when I was younger.
I think everybody is.
Yeah, and I think just the older I get, the more I'm invested in my family and the people that I love and these guys, the players that I love.
What's the greatest goal you've achieved so far?
Probably recruiting my wife, or my girlfriend, to become my now wife.
Attaboy. Recruiting my girlfriend.
She knows I'm laid it on thick. She's giving me a dirty look.
I love it. What do you hope to achieve in your professional life?
In my professional career, I want to retire a South Range Raider from the classroom and from the field, and it'd be nice to get a couple more rings.
It would be nice to get a couple more rings.
Yeah.
It all starts on Friday. We'll continue the journey. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for our head coach of South Range, Dave.
Thank you.
Rach.